Brett and I will be back at 6.
See you then.
On World News Tonight this Friday, what happened to the gun control bill in Congress? Too weak for some, too strong for others, just right for a serious blame game. The Russians and NATO agree on the technicalities of keeping the peace in Kosovo. Peace and tranquility are another matter. A government commission's recommendations about gambling to be ignored. And what it was that revolutionized life on this planet. The Century on Friday.
From ABC News World Headquarters in New York, this is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings.
Good evening. There will be no new gun control law in the United States, not this week. After several days of very heavy politicking, the House of Representatives has defeated a bill that would have added some restrictions on gun sales and relaxed restrictions on others. Those who voted against further control included Democrats and Republicans, liberals and conservatives. It was an interesting week on Capitol Hill. We start with ABC's Linda Douglas.
Gun control advocates charged the gun lobby succeeded in weakening the House bill so much that it was virtually toothless in the end.
The Republican Party turned its back on the American people and embraced the NRA instead.
Republicans insisted the bill was a legitimate compromise, a modest measure which the American people would have embraced.
The Democrats chose today to play politics and to say no to everything.
But for Democratic leaders, there was one crucial issue, a proposal to crack down on gun shows, which they lost just after midnight. New York's Carolyn McCarthy, whose husband was shot and killed, begged members to vote for a measure to give authorities 3 days to do a background check for sales at gun shows.
If we don't do it, shame on us, because I have to tell you, the American people will remember. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.
Despite the standing ovation, most Republicans and more than 40 Democrats voted for a much weaker background check proposal backed by the NRA.
To go beyond this is simply to harass innocent, law-abiding citizens and to hurt people who love to go to gun shows.
But this afternoon, the House had also voted to weaken the background check at pawn shops and lift the ban on handgun possession in Washington, D.C. The district's representative ripped into a Virginia congressman who supported that measure.
Most of the guns that are killing people in the District of Columbia come from your state. Come from your state, Mr. Good. Get off of my back. Get out of my business.
The gun issue is not going to go away, and with the election year looming, the members of Congress are now going to have to decide, Peter, which group of voters they fear most, those passionate supporters of gun control or the passionate gun owners.
Thanks very much, Linda. Linda Douglas on Capitol Hill on this debate. What a difference time makes. After the school shootings this spring, the Senate passed a gun control bill pretty readily, and many thought it would be a sure thing in the House. ABC's Jackie Judd, and what happened in between.
What do we want? No more guns!
After the horror at Columbine, polls showed that most Americans felt more strongly than ever about gun control. Many politicians did too. But time dulled that emotional surge and the political process took over.
We now know that there are 436 members of the House. One of them far more powerful than any of the others, and that is the NRA.
The NRA is not the powerhouse it once was, but still has plenty of muscle. And it exercised that by having John Dingell, a leading Democrat, very much on its side.
What saved the behinds of the NRA on the gun issue this time, no question, was the willingness of John Dingell to step in, thwart his party's general viewpoint, and work with Republicans.
NRA lobbyists also were very disciplined in delivering their message that Washington should better enforce existing laws before passing any more.
The Justice Department has turned their back on enforcing all those laws. It's an American tragedy, and it's getting people killed.
In Littleton, there was shock among some at what the House did.
I think it's horrible. I can't believe that they did that.
Analysts say more powerful than memories of the shooting are memories of 1994, when Democrats lost the House in part because of the NRA's efforts. Some fence-sitters were not prepared to become the group's next targets. Jackie Judd, ABC News, Washington.
Other news today, overseas, the U.S. and Russia have settled their dispute over the Russian role in Kosovo. It's taken 3 days of tough negotiating in Helsinki. The deal does not give Russia the separate sector in Kosovo it wanted to police. It does mean about 3,000 Russian troops will be deployed throughout Kosovo, reporting to Russian officers, and NATO will retain ultimate command. In Kosovo today, first, time to make a decision. In the town of Podujevo, the Serb soldiers didn't quite know what to do, sitting there with Kosovo Albanians jeering them. And then a British tank showed up. Just a moment's hesitation before the Serbs thought better of it. Serbs are leaving the province at just about the same number that Kosovo Albanians are returning. Humanitarian workers in Albania and Macedonia believe that the rate of returning Albanians will increase this weekend, which worries them. Every returning refugee is now getting a notice which warns that Kosovo is still a very dangerous place. Here's ABC's Bob Woodruff.
The refugees who are coming back to Kosovo are finding landmines in their homes and backyards.
Possible mines down there, mate.
NATO troops are finding them all over Kosovo, and a lot of people are getting hurt. In this case, 2 men who stepped on a mine while walking down the road. In this tiny clinic alone, doctors are now treating about 8 people a day for landmine injuries.
They're flooding back to their houses, and they've got mines in their gardens and the fields, and people aren't taking, I don't think they're taking enough care.
Does he have any information about any mines here?
Landmine experts are now in Kosovo, and they are in a race against time to locate and destroy hundreds of thousands of landmines before the expected flood of refugees arrives within the next few days. Simon Conway has just arrived from the minefields of Cambodia.
Well, there's a lot of sporadic mining, people leaving mines as they leave houses and stuff like that. So it makes it very difficult. Yeah, it's essentially revenge.
Before the Yugoslav army began withdrawing, they handed over a series of maps to NATO. But NATO has said those maps are highly unreliable, so the location of most landmines is still unknown. And it is now clear that landmines were planted by both sides in the war, the Yugoslavs and the Kosovo Liberation Army. The KLA is now working with NATO to find the landmines it planted, but Kosovo is now the most heavily mined place in the world. Finding even a fraction of them will probably take years. Bob Woodruff, ABC News, Pristina.
Later this evening on Nightline, Ted Koppel will report from Kosovo on what some people there call the Road of Death. Serb troops sealed off a stretch of highway with thousands of refugees and began to kill. When we come back, gambling in America, here to stay. And when an old standby gets a makeover, technology on the cutting edge.
This is World News Tonight with Peter Jennings, brought to you by Advil.
This is really something. You see this pain reliever? Nothing is proven to work better or last longer. Nothing. You see this one? For 14 years, people have counted on this for relief, and it's gentle on the stomach. And you may be surprised to learn that both are Advil. It's true. Nothing's proven to work better or longer than Advil. And millions of people can tell you it's gentle to the stomach. Strong, yet gentle. Advil.
The Flying Mile. Race fans gather at Daytona's Flying Mile.
Winning Daytona shows that the 300 is a spirited, full-blooded automobile with impeccable road manners.
Chrysler 300M, born like its ancestors with the most horsepower in its class.
No other car delivers this much motoring excitement. She's a regular firecracker.
And now, Motor Trend 1999 Car of the Year.
Where will you be when your grandson gets his first taste of the ocean? When man walks on Mars? When your children want to discover their heritage? Life is filled with moments you don't want to miss. That's why if you have high cholesterol and heart disease, you should know about Zocor. Zocor is proven to help save lives by reducing the risk of a heart attack. So where will you be tomorrow? That could depend on what you do today. When diet and exercise aren't enough, talk to your doctor about adding Zocor. Zocor is a prescription medication and is not right for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems, because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Zocor, and about any medicines you are taking. For more information, talk to your doctor or call. Zocor, it's your future. Be there.
A federal commission has issued a report on gambling in America. The commission was appointed because of concern that gambling is having a negative effect on society. The commission recommends a moratorium on casino expansion, a minimum age of 21 to gamble at all, no betting on college sports, nor on the internet. In all likelihood, there's not a recommendation there which will be implemented. As ABC's Aaron Brown reports tonight, gambling in America is bigger than ever.
From big-time casinos to mom and pop video poker machines to state-run lotteries, Americans spent $630 billion on gambling last year, which is more than they spent on all other entertainment forms combined.
You can't go anyplace in America and not have gambling in your face.
Casinos, once confined to the Nevada desert, are now in 26 states, and revenues have increased sixfold in 15 years. Next to casino owners, no one is happier than state governments.
Taxes on the commercial casino industry are tremendously high, probably the highest taxed industry in America.
For states, it is like free money. Why give manufacturers tax breaks when casinos will employ just as many people, maybe more, and pay higher taxes to boot?
Government has created a demand. It has pushed gambling on people. You know, charitable gambling cracked the door, lotteries open the door, casino gambling takes the door off.
Nothing in today's report is likely to change that. The report criticizes state lotteries for marketing to the poor and neighborhood gambling like video poker for feeding the addiction. But the big casinos come away virtually untouched. And they are likely to remain that way. The commission recommends states make gambling decisions, and states are not likely to dramatically limit an industry that is paying high taxes while giving voters exactly what they want. Aaron Brown, ABC News, New York.
Elsewhere on the money tonight, more people than ever deciding that home is a double wide or an upscale version of the house trailer. 25% of all new single-family homes last year were prefabricated like this. 19 million people now live in them. Pity the lawyer who let this one slip by. The aerospace company Lockheed Martin says a misplaced comma in a recent contract for the sale of a C-130J military transport plane. A misplaced comma cost the company $70 million. On Wall Street today, the Dow Jones Industrial Average was up just under 14 points to close at 10,855. On the NASDAQ, stocks were up 19 points. Here is a sports question for the weekend. What event will more people in the world watch this weekend than any other, including a very large pay-per-view audience here? The World Cup of Cricket. Pakistan versus Australia in the final. It used to be England's game, now taken over and dominated by parts of the world where England used to rule. Indians and Pakistanis, South Africans and West Indians. 2 billion people are expected to watch, including a large audience here. This is not the time to explain cricket. Suffice to say, for those who'll be glued to the screen, it is a passion. In our next segment, shooting the moon, rocking the cradle, and walking the dog. Technology on the cutting edge.
There are at least 100 questions every home buyer should ask. Like, how much down payment do I need? Can I buy a $200,000 home with an FHA loan? Do I really need homeowners insurance? Luckily, HUD's FHA has the answers. We've helped 25 million Americans buy a home. Call for our free brochure.
All right, kid. Here we go. 10-9. What do you got? What do you got? What? Yeah. All right, come on, come on.
What would you do if someone you loved had a heart attack?
Yeah.
Did you know it's now been proven that the same Bayer aspirin you have in your bag for muscle aches may actually help stop you from dying if you take it during a heart attack?
Downtown. Lucky shot.
Can your pain reliever do that? Talk to your doctor now.
Next time I'll go easier on you.
Bayer. Powerful pain relief and so much more.
Do you dare to be bare everywhere? Can you expose your toes? Or do you hide them because of embarrassing nail fungus that turns nails' colors, makes them thick or brittle? Well, now you can discover how it's possible to get healthier, more beautiful nails back. By calling this number, you'll receive a free video and learn about effective oral treatments your doctor has. This year, learn how to lose those shoes and love it. Then dare to be bare, because fungus-free nails are a bare necessity.
Is it the thick, rich chocolate flavor? Is it the soft, luscious cherry flavor? Or the way it yields to the gentlest bite? Or is it the fact that 500 milligrams of bone-strengthening calcium doesn't come in a big, honking horse pill? Calburst from Nature Made. Have some pleasure with your calcium.
Here's something we didn't know. The ancient Greeks invented the yo-yo 2,500 years ago. And pun intended, it's had its ups and downs. Enormously popular one moment, virtually obscure the next. A French playwright in the late 1790s may have described the yo-yo best. A noble toy, he said, which dispels the fatigue of thinking. If only the Greeks could see our technology on the cutting edge. Here's ABC's Brian Rooney.
This is the Cold Fusion Yo-Yo Sleeping, simply spinning at the end of its string. It sleeps longer than any yo-yo ever made, and sleep is what has awakened the yo-yo.
This is called splitting the atom.
The longer the yo-yo spins, keeping it stable like a bicycle, the more time there is to perform.
To make a good yo-yo, it has to sleep for a reasonable period of time, has to be dead smooth on string tricks, and has to come back instantly on command.
Yo-yos made with modern technology have created an explosion in the variety and length of tricks that can be performed. What once were championship moves are now for beginners.
The tricks that used to be the entire contest, I can teach a kid in half an hour now.
Designers applied the rules of physics and moved the weight of the yo-yo to its outer rims, putting more force in the spin. They added adjustable string gaps for varied response, high-performance ball bearings to reduce friction, even brake pads to make it snap back. A yo-yo called the Brain has a centrifugal clutch that automatically brings it back when it's losing spin. And the Duncan Yo-Yo Company is about to introduce the Ballistic with adjustable weight distribution. The Cold Fusion weighs exactly 60 grams, and when you unscrew it and take it down to its brakes and ball bearings, it has 25 parts and retails for $150. The previous record for sleeping a conventional yo-yo stood at 51 seconds. But professionals have slept the Cold Fusion for 8 minutes and 21 seconds. This amateur was videotaped sleeping his for 10 minutes and 40 seconds. Now, kids on the street are using these super yo-yos to do things never thought possible. One of the simplest toys ever made has become a technical marvel. Brian Rooney, ABC News, Tucson, Arizona.
Genius is in the news again this week. The mathematician and the physicist Albert Einstein was so intelligent that his name became synonymous with genius.
Albert Einstein.
When he died in 1955, he willed his brain to science. And now, thanks to research at McMaster University in Hamilton, Ontario, perhaps we understand a little more about why he was a genius. Einstein had a bigger brain. Bigger than 91 people determined to be of normal intelligence, whose brains were also used in the study. Einstein's brain was clearly different in the area where mathematical reasoning takes place. His brain proved to be 15% wider, which researchers think means it was more developed. And something else. This fissure, or groove, which most of us have, is non-existent in Einstein's brain. The scientists theorized that without this groove, particles in Einstein's brain could connect and work together more easily, in a more creative way. Just one other note about Einstein. In the refugee camps of Albania and Macedonia, many Kosovars wear T-shirts that say, Einstein was a refugee, which he was. He fled Nazi Germany for the United States in 1933. And one final item from the peacekeeping forces in Kosovo. Last night, a British soldier, actually he was Scottish, turned south instead of north towards Kosovo just as his convoy was leaving the city of Thessaloniki in Greece, where the troops had landed. Oblivious to his mistake, he dutifully drove on through the night all the way across Greece until he ended up in Athens, the capital. He was 400 miles off course. In a moment, the century on Friday.
It's completely changed and revolutionized how we live, work, and play.
One cool invention, and the world would never be the same.
Nancy will have to see from near to far almost 1,000 times today. Her eyes will focus on 40 labels, 60 charts, and 100 smiles. And in all that time, she'll never once think about the science that allows her to focus instantly at all distances. Nancy just knows that her Verilux lenses help her see better. And for her, that's a very comforting thought. Verilux, the comfort of better vision. For more information, call toll-free 1-800-VERILUX.
3 things I always do before I barbecue ribs. Whip up my secret hot sauce, get the coals just right, and I always take a Pepsid AC.
Whatever's cooking, Pepsid AC can stop heartburn before it starts.
Oh, yeah.
It's summer, when everybody can use the refreshment of a good hose down. And your deck can use the refreshment of a new coat of Thompson's Wood Protector. For rain, sun, mildew, it's the most powerful Thompson's yet. Thompson's Wood Protector. It never takes a day off.
Announcing a new way to see, near and far. The new AccuView bifocal contact lens with pupil intelligent design. Call 1-800-531-2121 for a free trial pair or visit your eye care professional.
She's got nerves of steel, but her bones are another story. That's why Sunny Delight with calcium has as much calcium as milk and is a source of more vitamins than the next leading chilled juice drink for healthy bodies and crash landings. Reach for the good stuff. Reach for the sun. Sunny Delight.
There's a CD player, flip and fold seats, and cup holders all around. It's nice. You know, on a test drive, it's usually the customer who drives the van.
Oh, hey, Ron, can you pull over right here, please?
Test drive the Silhouette Premier by Oldsmobile now and get a free $25 Blockbuster gift card. It's the first minivan with a built-in video entertainment system.
Are you sure you don't want to drive?
Oh, no, you're doing a great job. Great.
For test drive details, call 1-877-MOVIE-VAN or see your local Oldsmobile dealer.
Where will you be when your grandson gets his first taste of the ocean? When man walks on Mars? When your children want to discover their heritage? Life is filled with moments you don't want to miss. That's why if you have high cholesterol and heart disease, you should know about Zocor. Zocor is proven to help save lives by reducing the risk of a heart attack. So where will you be tomorrow? That could depend on what you do today. When diet and exercise aren't enough, talk to your doctor about adding Zocor. Zocor is a prescription medication and is not right for everyone, including women who are nursing, pregnant, or may become pregnant, or people with liver problems. Your doctor may do blood tests to check for liver problems, because serious side effects can result. Tell your doctor about any muscle pain or weakness you experience while on Zocor, and about any medicines you are taking. For more information, talk to your doctor or call. Zocor, it's your future. Be there.
Tonight, this little girl was stabbed and murdered. This 13-year-old confessed. Did he do it, or did this police chief coerce him into confessing?
I did not kill Deb.
On 2020, tonight.
Some years ago, at about this time of year, we went to visit the late Senator Sam Ervin at his home in North Carolina. And as we sat on the porch one fairly hot evening, he suddenly said, "You know what the trouble is in Washington?" And then he answered his own question, air conditioning. Before air conditioning, he said, politicians would have to leave Washington in the summer to go home where they saw their constituents. As the writer Gore Vidal puts it, now the Congress never stops making mischief. So finally tonight, the century on Friday. Tonight, air conditioning.
The long, hot summer.
For much of the 20th century, a long, hot summer was something to be endured and occasionally enjoyed. The heat was part of Southern culture, a bit of suffering that could only be eased by the slow whirl of a ceiling fan and a tall glass of something icy.
Hello, Agnes, sweetie.
Hello, Eula.
You sure do look calm and collected on this hot day.
Well, I'm not. I'm damp and cranky.
In a good old summertime, in a good old summertime.
In the cities, the summer could be sweltering. Air conditioning changed the world.
It's completely changed and revolutionized how we live, work, and play.
Factories got it first because they needed it. In the heat, textiles would snap their thread on the machines. Newsprint would jam. And by the 1930s, the air conditioning industry realized the real future lay in cooling people. When Willis Carrier, the Thomas Edison of air conditioning, developed his centrifugal compressor, he found a market at the movies. The summer blockbuster was born. Hotel lobbies were next, and then restaurants. Just about anyone trying to attract customers who wanted to be cool.
Test by arriving home from your cool office with a cheery, "Have a nice day." Cool your entire home with Trane Central Air Conditioning. Stop boiling your wife in a non-air conditioned home.
After World War II, the home air conditioner offered perpetual cooling as a way of life.
People begin to look at air conditioning not as an oddity, as a luxury, but actually as a necessity. It becomes just a part of life.
When it's hot like this, you know what I do? I keep my undies in the icebox.
Popular culture took notice.
There's actually a wonderful scene in the movie The 7-Year Itch. Right after the scene where Marilyn Monroe's skirt kind of flies up, she goes back to her apartment building with Tom Ewell, and he invites her into his apartment because it's air conditioned.
This is really the most.
By the late 1950s, air conditioning was being installed in cars. By the 1960s, it was everywhere. The changes that came with it were profound. The South, in decline since the Civil War, began to rise again.
General Electric, in a sense, has been a more devastating invader of Southern culture than General Sherman was.
The lure of an air-conditioned environment prompted corporations to relocate to the South, where real estate and labor was cheaper. And in the 1970s and 80s, millions of Americans made the move. There was simply no end to air conditioning's benefits.
Almost all of modern science depends on complete climate control. Without air conditioning, you really wouldn't have that.
Today, more than 73% of American homes are air-conditioned. Houston, Texas spends over $700 million a year on cooling. Without air conditioning, the Dallas Stars would never have played the Stanley Cup at home last night. There are those who would argue that the cool breeze has come at a cost, leaving in its wake only memories of summertime on the front porch. If you log on to our website, thecentury.com, you can find out more about air conditioning and a lot of other inventions that changed the course of the century. That is our report on World News Tonight. Don't forget 2020 later on. And don't forget Nightline. I'm Peter Jennings. Have a good weekend. Good night.
Sunday on This Week with Sam Donaldson and Cokie Roberts.
The House defeats gun control, plus an exclusive interview with Britain's Tony Blair. ABC Sunday.
This has been a presentation of ABC News. More Americans get their news from ABC News than from any other source. ABCnews.com, now a part of the Go Network.